welcome to Middlesbrough. Give us your thoughts. What is it about Middlesbrough that made this the right move for you?
Thank you. To be honest, obviously Neil Warnock coming in was a major factor. Played a massive part. I worked with him before at QPR, only for a brief spell, but I saw what he was about then, and obviously his record speaks for itself. He's had 8 promotions. For me, my ambition is to play in the Premier League, and I feel like he's someone that can take this club back to where it needs to be, basically. So that was my thinking behind it, yeah. And it's a massive club. It's a massive club as well, Middlesbrough.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Admittedly, you've just arrived, but you've seen the training facilities. You'll be aware of the Riverside. It's got a big structure. It can go places, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's got all the facilities. It just says it's got Premier League written all over it. To be honest, even a hotel here. I've stayed at a hotel a few times when I've played down here, and it's just lovely. Everything about the area. It's brilliant facilities and something that I've not really been used to before. Obviously, when I was at Spurs, I had those facilities, but being at QPR is a little bit different. So it's really nice here.
You mentioned Neil Warnock. How did he sell it to you?
Basically, just said, look, he said he's not coming here to finish mid-table. That's what he said to me. He said, you know me. He wants to go for promotion, and to be honest, as I said, his record speaks for itself. Every club he's gone into, that's what he's done. So for me, really, when I thought about it, it was a no-brainer, to be honest. Just to come down here and, as I say, my ambition is to get in the Premier League. That's where I want to be as a player.
What can Borough fans expect from you as a player?
Leadership. Obviously I was captain of QPR last season. I think that responsibility helped me as well. I think I can be a leader on the pitch. And off the pitch as well. Very comfortable on the ball. That's probably my main asset as a player. Very comfortable on the ball, and I don't mind throwing myself, put my body on the line, defending. So I think that's what the fans can expect of me, and I always give 110%. If I'm not having a good day, I still work as hard as I possibly can. So no matter what, I'll always give my all on the pitch.
That's great for me. I'll pass you over to Mark from the BBC. Cheers.
Cheers, Simon. Nice one.
Grant, hope you can hear me. It's Mark Tulip from BBC Look North, the regional telly programme up here. So,
how you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm good. You can hear me. That's fantastic. Grant, I mean, did all this come around quite quickly? Because obviously the gap between one season finishing and the other season starting is quite short.
To be honest, no, it's not really been quick for me. It's been a long wait, to be honest, because obviously the whole contract situation at QPR. So I came. Obviously, lockdown happened. My last game was March. So it's been a long time since I played football. And obviously I came back and trained for a brief spell at QPR, and then, contract talks broke down there. And I felt it was the right time for me to move on anyway. So it's been a while since I've trained as well. So I'm looking forward to the challenge, and it's been a long time, and I'm just desperate to get started now.
When you've been talking to Neil, did he mention that one of the things he was looking to you for was leadership? Because obviously you have been a club captain at QPR.
Yeah, that's what he mentioned to me. He said he feels like it was lacking a little bit of leadership in the team. I mean, obviously every time I've played Middlesbrough, throughout the seasons, they've always been around the playoffs or around promotion. So for Middlesbrough to be in that position last season was a bit of a shock to me as well, to be honest. Especially with the players that are at the club currently. I think there's some very good players here. I just, for whatever reason, things didn't go right last year. But hopefully, I can play a part in turning that around this year, and we can be looking up instead of down.
I don't think Neil thinks promotions are given next season, given what's happened this year. I think he thinks it will be a progression. So, I mean, are you sort of, a patient man, perhaps if it's not next season, possibly the next season after?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I've come here, that's my aim. I've not come here just to sit and be happy, really. It's, I've signed a 3-year contract, and if it takes 2-3 years, so be it, but everyone knows the Championship, and it's probably the hardest league. Everyone beats everyone, there's no easy games in the league. So, of course, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be very tough, but I feel like if we get off to a good start, who knows what can happen.
And how will you adapt to the cooler climb up here, cooler temperatures?
I'll be fine. And obviously, I'm from down south, so I'm used to it, being a little bit warmer. But I'll be all right. I'll be fine.
Thanks, Grant.
No worries. Cheers, mate.
Good luck, mate. Good luck.
Thank you.
Mark
Hi,
Drury. another Mark from the BBC.
Hey there, Mark. You're right, mate.
You're right.
Yeah,
you can only work for us if you're called Mark. It's the law. Right, there might be a little bit of the same again because obviously it's a radio interview. Okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, Grant, what's your first impressions of Middlesbrough as a Middlesbrough player rather than as somebody up against them in the opposition?
Just the facilities, I drive in and I see like it's got everything at its disposal really. It's like, as I say, it's Premier League club for me, and it's a huge club. So it wasn't really a difficult decision for me to come here, not at all.
What was the bigger selling point? Was it Middlesbrough the club or Neil Warnock the manager? Because obviously you know him of old.
Yeah, to be honest, it was both. I feel like it's a club that, as I say, every time I played in the Championship, it's always been. Middlesbrough's always been a club that's been around, promotion, whether it's playoffs or being automatic promotion. It's, last season I think it was a blip, and I was very surprised to see the club down at the bottom half of the table, to be honest. So yeah, obviously Neil's a massive factor in me coming here as well. Having worked with him before, I know what he's capable of. His man management of players as well is second to none. And he just brings a hunger to, he's desperate to have another promotion on his CV. So for me, that's what I want as well. I want a promotion, and I'd love to play in the Premier League. That's my aspiration as a player. It should be anyone's aspiration.
Coming into this summer, obviously a weird summer for where the season's ended, and with everything that's happened in the world, to be a free agent this summer, what were you thinking? Were you thinking, oh my God, this is terrible timing, or was it, oh, I might have hit the jackpot here, this is a great time? How did you feel about it?
To be honest, you never sort of knew how it would pan out, to be honest. Obviously, last season I feel like I had a good season myself, so that helped. We knew there was interest early on, so I was kind of in a position where I sort of knew I had a little bit of interest. So it was just a case of finding the right club for me. So it was never really a panic, but I don't think anyone's ever been in a situation like this. I mean, it's new to all of us, so it's not ideal. But I'm just glad that I'm here now, and I can just focus on football again.
And did it take long from, I presume, Neil first getting in touch with you to you actually agreeing to join?
It didn't take too long, no, to be honest. It was probably a couple of weeks where everything was sorted. It was just me making sure that it was the right move, and obviously because I'm from a long way away, so making sure logistically I've got a young family now. So to be honest, it is the right move. It's perfect for me, and I feel like it's a club that under Neil will be progressing again. Whether it's this year or this season or next season, I feel like we will be challenging at the top half of the table.
And how much of that faith you have in Borough's ability to challenge and perhaps be promoted is down to Neil Warnock and the fact he's done this so often before?
Yeah, exactly, definitely. I mean, as I said before, 8 promotions. It speaks for itself, and he said to me on the phone, he said, look, I've not come in to finish mid-table. That's what he said to me. I mean, we all know it's not as simple as that. We all know the Championship's a brutal league. It's demanding, it's ruthless, week in, week out. But, for him to say that, I know that he's a firm believer of that, and I believe in, what he's achieved so far and what he's capable of doing.
I was just reading a bit about you, obviously, before speaking to you today, and
yep.
You've had a few tough times, haven't you, in the last couple of years with the knee injury that took you a long time to get back from, and all the doubts that created in your mind.
Yeah.
I know you're 28, but you've lived a bit, haven't you, in the last few years, and you've become a dad too.
Yeah. It's been a bit of a whirlwind, to be fair, the last couple of years. I mean, the first 2 years were perfect for me when I signed for QPR. Couldn't have gone better. Played every game, and then the knee injury struck. But it was a very complex injury. I had chronic tendonitis in my knee, and it just wouldn't go. I tried every treatment possible. I was sceptical about having the operation because I'd read about players like Owen Hargreaves and how he actually had to retire from it. So I didn't want to just jump straight into that. I wanted to sort of cover all avenues, to be honest, before I did that. But since I've had the operation, I've not had a problem with the knee. So this season's been, it's been massive for me. Played pretty much every game. It's been successful for me. So yeah, because I spent probably 18 months out, which is a long time of football.
Yeah, and you must have doubted yourself a bit during that time. I mean, it's a mental test, isn't it, as well as a physical test?
I think naturally you do, to be honest. It's just when you've been out for that period of time, I started to think, will I ever return? And will I be the same player when I come back? I mean, it took me a while to find my feet. I think, I came back the season before last, and it took me a while to get back to myself, how I feel like how I wanted to play. But this season, I think it's been a really good season. Last season, sorry, it's been a really good season for me. So it all worked out in the end.
And when you talk about the Championship being brutal, and you're right, it is, how much of what's required to thrive in it is down to mental strength as well as, being physically strong?
I think mentally it's the biggest part of the game, if I'm honest. Especially in Championship, I mean, you're playing Saturday, Tuesday. It's so demanding physically and mentally. But I think mentally, if you're not right, then you're going to struggle because it demands a lot of you, this league. It's one of the toughest leagues, definitely.
You're obviously pleased to be here.
Yes.
How excited are you at what's to come?
I'm just itching to get just to start and get back playing. It's been so long since I played a game. I just can't wait to get started and obviously meet the lads. Everything's new to me, and settle in. But I'm just literally I'm delighted to be here, and I'm looking forward to the season.
Well, look, very best of luck. Look forward to watching you in action.
Cheers, Mark. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Grant Dom from the Evening Gazette in Middlesbrough.
How you
when
doing?
you talk there, I was reading earlier about when you were open about the struggles you had during those injury struggles.
Yep.
If that operation hadn't have worked, would that have been it for your career?
Potentially, yes. We covered everything, to be honest, covered every treatment. I went and saw a specialist who thought it was to do with my hip. I had injections, I had shockwave therapy, I rehabbed 2 or 3 times, and nothing seemed to work. So, it was, my mindset was going into that operation, if this doesn't work, I'm in trouble. And potentially that was, the end of my career. But luckily, touch wood, the operation has worked, and I've not had a problem with it. I've not felt my knee at all since. So I just don't take playing for granted anymore. I think naturally as a player, you sometimes take playing for granted, and I don't do that anymore because I know, the next game could be my last. You never know. So I'm just happy to be playing again.
It must have been the uncertainty, because if you I don't know, do your cruciate, you're out for whatever 8-9 months.
Yeah.
But not knowing whether this treatment's going to work, the next treatment's going to work, the operation's going to work. That must have been so difficult for not just you, but your family and your loved ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's well documented. It's obviously I've come out and spoke about my problems during the injury, and that was the toughest problem for me, actually, not knowing how long I'd be out for, because I remember fans used to ask me, when are you back? And it used to kill me because I couldn't give them an answer. And there was actually a time where I had to stay away from watching the lads at the stadium because I just couldn't handle the fans keep asking me the same question, and I couldn't answer them. I couldn't, as you say, with a cruciate, you're out 6 to 9 months, that. But with chronic tendonitis, there was no time frame on it, so it was just a case of as and when, really. So yeah, it was a real struggle.
Does it almost feel like a second career for you since you've come back? Now you've got the move. Obviously, you're a dad now. You've got the little one. It must feel like a complete fresh start, especially after everything you've gone through.
Yeah, it feels like a new lease of life, to be honest, for me. And obviously having a little one now through the virus and stuff like that, it's just nice that I can, I've signed here and I can settle and just concentrate on football. And that's just my full focus is on football at the moment, and obviously my family. So yes, I'm just delighted to be able to play.
And did obviously being a dad in the family, did that have any bearing on your decision at all? Obviously, you have to take that into account.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've just she's 3 months old now, so listen, it's not ideal moving away from home, but that's football. It has to be done. And I felt like this was the right move for me, and my family agreed. We had discussions about what we felt was right at this period, this stage of my career. Sorry, and everything about the club just feels right. I feel like I'm very optimistic with where this club can go.
And last one from me. Obviously, given everything you've gone through, you talked there about being a leader, being a strong character. Having gone through all that, you must be more resilient now. You must be an even stronger character in and around the place, both on the pitch and off it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely made me stronger, to be honest, going through that and coming back from it, and it's sort of opened my eyes a little bit and made me appreciate just being able to play again, as I say as well. So as I say, every time I step on the pitch now, I play as if it's my last game, so even if I'm having an off day, I'll still give everything I've got. So I think that's hopefully the fans can take to me because of that, that aspect of things as well.
Thanks, Grant.
Cheers, Dom. Nice one.
Hi, Grant. Scott from the Northern Echo. You all right?
Hi, mate. You're right. Yeah, very well. Thank you,
yeah.
yourself.
You say you haven't you obviously haven't been playing since March. So, I mean, how has that been? How were you training with QPR, or was it kind of training at home? Was it running in the back garden?
So obviously, my last game was Preston, and then lockdown happened. So, originally we were training from home for a brief period, but then lockdown was longer than what everyone originally thought it would be. So we had our off season then, so we was off for 5 or 6 weeks, and then we came back into training. So, I knew my contract was up. I was in discussions with QPR, and I just, those talks broke down. I just felt like, to be honest, I needed a new challenge, and I felt this was the right decision for me. I mean, obviously I'm 28 now. I want to progress, and I think the next 2 years are massive years for me. You sort of, as a centre back, you're sort of in your prime. When you come to 28, so I felt like it was an easy decision in the end to come to a club like this. It's a huge club, but it's been weird being off for the the period of time I've been off. I've just been trying to obviously try and keep myself as fit as I can. It's difficult when you're training on your own. But yeah, I only went back into QPR probably for a couple of weeks training, and then ended up leaving.
And in some ways, do you think it kind of, you say it's a new start for you. It's a new start for Middlesbrough, really, because obviously Neil came in at the end of last season, but he's staying. It's his first kind of permanent spell at it, if you like. I think he's pretty open that there's going to be more changes this summer. So in some ways, does it make it easier that it's not like you're potentially going into a dressing room that's got cliques and is all very well established? It's probably going to be a new start for everyone at Borough this season. Yeah,
I think that does help, to be honest, when it's a group of new players obviously coming in. But to be honest, it won't take me long to settle. I'm easygoing. I'm easy to get on with anyway with anyone. So I'm just looking forward to meeting all the lads and getting started. But as you say, it does make it easier when there's a few new faces about. Yeah.
Cheers.
Hi Grant, Joe from the Hartlepool Mail here. Do you know anybody else from the club personally? Any of the other players?
I actually I don't know Mark Bowler, who's here. I actually did a training camp with a mutual friend that we know with him. So I don't know him very well, but I've met him before, so we know of each other. And obviously I only really knew Ravel, who was here last season, Ravel Morrison. So I played with him, but everyone else, I've not played with before, so I don't know. So I'm sort of going into a completely new changing room. So I'll have to get to know everyone quite quickly.
So did you speak to anyone else before the move, or was it just Neil?
No, I spoke to Jordan Hugel as well. Obviously, I play with him at QPR. He's he's a Middlesbrough lad, and he's played at this club. So he told me all about the club, and that obviously helped my decision as well.
Would you say that Neil's the best manager you've played under, man management wise?
I think if you're going from a player to player aspect, I've seen how he handles each individual player. His man management skills are second to none, as I've said. So I think from that aspect, yeah, I don't see any managers being better than him in that for that reason. Yeah.
That's great. Cheers.
No worries, mate.
Grant.
Hello.
Anthony Vickers from the Gazette here.
How you doing, mate? You alright?
Yeah, good. You?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
You said you played Middlesbrough a few times. What have you made of them as a team in recent?
Always hard to beat, to be honest.
You played earlier this season.
Yeah, always difficult to beat Middlesbrough. Always defensively very solid normally. Obviously last season was a little bit different, but it's always a game you go into thinking it's going to be a tough game against Middlesbrough. And as I say, they normally a lot of experienced players in the team, and they've always, when I've played against them, they've always been around the playoffs or promotion. So I always expect a difficult game when I play Middlesbrough. Yeah.
So you'll have come up against Britta Somberlong and Ashley Fletcher a few times. I mean, what makes your job hard against players like that?
I mean, to be honest, we obviously play Middlesbrough early in the season. We drew 2 at home. Britt scored both goals. I think on his day, he's a handful for any defender in the division. And when he's at his best, he's strong, he's quick, he scores goals when he's at his best. Obviously, last season may have been a bit inconsistent. I don't know what really went on, but when I played against him, he was a handful. So it's those type of players. It's nice for me to be playing with them instead of against them, to be honest.
What will you bring to the party? What can Borough fans expect from you?
I'd say leadership skills. I think obviously being captain last season, just having that responsibility on and off the pitch. I feel like I've become a leader now, and I'm very comfortable on the ball. That's probably my biggest asset as a player. And as I said, I'll always give 110%. Even if things aren't going right for me in a game, I'll always work my hardest.
Borough fans love a tackle as well, so if you can...
I try and throw my body on the line now, when I need to. So yeah, they can expect me to have a few tackles, I'm sure.
Okay, thanks a lot.
No worries.
Can I just ask you one more, Grant, on Neil? I mean, I know you didn't kind of work with him, you didn't have a lot of time with him, but
no.
Kind of what's he like on the training ground? Because obviously he's 71, and yet we get the impression from speaking to him that he's probably running in amongst the games and pulling players here and there, and he's so infectious. What's he like day?
That's probably the word you can use, infectious. He's a great character. You can have a laugh with him, but when it's time to be serious, he's serious. And he just what I like about him is he knows what he wants, and he knows his expectations as a manager, and that's what I like. He's honest with you as well. He tells you how it is. And as a player, I think you need that.
Yeah, and because I know from speaking to various players at various stages in the past, quite often you might not necessarily agree with what the manager wants all the time, but you need to know what they want you to do, and that's often the hardest part when you've got a manager who you can't really get your head around what he actually wants from you. And obviously that doesn't seem to be the case with Neil Warnock. It seems very cut and dry what he expects, certainly his defenders, to do. Yeah,
no, exactly. I mean, he knows exactly what he wants. So as a player, that's what you want. You don't want any sort of uncertainty. But yeah, he demands respect as well for what he's done in the 8 promotions. You have to respect him. It's a ridiculous. I think it's probably I don't think anyone's ever done that, have they? 8 promotions. Is he the only manager with that?
Certainly not at the level.
Yeah.
And obviously he needs 4 more games for 1,500.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and he said multiple times, he's finished now, and he always ends up coming back, So I think this will be him until it's he's on his last legs, really. So I can't see him leaving football, if I'm honest.
No, I know.
Hi, sorry, Scott, if you're done there. Hi, Grant. It's Martin Hardy here from the Times.
How you doing, Martin? You all right?
I'm very good, mate. I'm very good. Welcome to the North East, first of all.
Thank you.
Hope you have a successful career here. Now, Steve McLaren is the Middlesbrough manager, the only one that's won a major trophy.
Yep.
Les Ferdinand is still absolutely loved by Newcastle fans. These are 2 men that had a real impact on your life, didn't they?
Yes, yeah, definitely. A lot of gratitude for both of them. Especially Les. I've known him for a long time, since I was at Spurs. Probably 9 years I've known Les, and he helped me through the period of time where I was struggling, obviously, with the injury, and he put me in contact with someone from the PFA to come out and talk about my problems and my issues, really. So obviously Steve McLaren was the manager at the time, and he fully supported me as well. So a lot of gratitude for the pair of them, to be honest, and I'm grateful for what they did for me.
How big a moment in your career and your life was it when you kind of, I think you've said you broke down just to have a chat about your injuries, but everything else came kind of tumbling out at the same time? How big a moment was that? Yeah,
that was breaking point, really, for me. That was what I needed, to be honest. I've spoke about. I wasn't ashamed that it happened. It probably happened in the best place that it could, to be honest. With those 2 in the room. So that obviously let me move forward, because I'd come back from the injury. I was fit, but I still wasn't myself. It was in the back of my mind, and it was still bothering me. So for me to get that release was what I needed, and after that, I've just looked forward now.
What was it? Sorry, who was it that from the PFA that you spoke to, and how important were they in kind of balancing your mind out, if you like?
I've actually forgotten the name, which he's not going to be happy with me, actually. But it's one of, I think he's very close with Les. I can't think of the name again now, but it's just literally it was probably a 2-3 hour conversation with him. And he was just talking about, the issues he suffered in his career, and just talking about life in general. Not all of it was football. It was just day-to-day life and how to handle things. So it sort of opened up my eyes a little bit, to certain things, and it definitely helped me moving forward.
Because how old were you when you went to Lewes? Were you like 18?
Lewes.
When you played football, Lewes, yeah.
Yeah, so I know I was 16 when I played for Lewes. I played in the conference for them. So I first went there when I was 16, yeah, and I was there till about 18.
And is there a point in a young footballer's life where they need a mentor, and is that something that perhaps needs to change in the future?
I think so, because I think football's a very pressurised environment, you know, and I think certain things are seen as a weakness at times, but I feel like that's changing now. I feel like there's a lot more people to speak to, but I feel like for youngsters, you know, it probably is ideal if they've got a contact where they can go and speak to someone. If they've got problems outside of football at home or to do with football, I think it's definitely an avenue that needs to be looked at. But I think obviously there's a lot more being done now, which is great.
And when you say a weakness, do you mean in terms of telling somebody that you're
I think just speaking about things, to be honest, speaking about your problems. And I think, you know, football, I think sometimes it's seen as a weakness. I don't know why now, obviously, because I've come out and spoke up, but maybe I looked at it like that as well and thought, you know, maybe people see it as you're mentally weak speaking about stuff like that. But now that I've come out and spoke about it, it doesn't bother me, you know, I can speak to anyone about, you know, the issues that I had at the time. So I see it as a strength now, to be honest.
Because a footballer's career is a young person's career. You kind of hopefully play to your mid-30s. If you're at the age of 26, which is I think what you might have been around the time, that's a lot of years to look if you're not a footballer when you had the injury, I guess. Yeah,
I feel like my career just started really as well. You know, when I signed for QPR, I'd settled finally. You know, I had a great first 2 seasons. I felt like everything was going well and the sky was the limit at that time, and then everything came crashing down. So to deal with that was the biggest challenge for me, because I'd never been in that position before, and I felt like my career had just got started. So, but now I'm just glad that I'm back playing, and hopefully I can have a very successful career from here on in.
Do you ever look back at that time and think that was part of the learning process?
Yeah, definitely. It's part of life, to be honest. You know, it is what it is. You know, I don't look at it and think, oh, if that hadn't happened, I could have been here, I could have been there. You know, that's just how life is, unfortunately. You know, everyone at some point in life is going to have, you know, bumps in the road and going to have struggles. You know, it's not just football. So I feel like it's definitely opened my eyes up to certain things, and it's helped me moving forward, to be honest.
And the entrance to Middlesbrough's training ground is pretty grandiose with the hotel on your left.
Yeah.
When you're a Middlesbrough player, what's it like driving in there for the first time?
It's just like the facilities are ridiculous. I mean, I look at the hotel. You got the hotel there, which is an unbelievable hotel. I stayed there quite a few times when we've had away games before at Middlesbrough. Just everything about the place to me it just screams Premier League club, you know. Everything's in place for that. I mean, and I've said it's not as simple as that, you know. The Championship it's a really difficult league, but I'll say if we can get off to a good start, you know, get some momentum, who knows what can happen.
And sorry, last one. Neil has said to us that the team needed leaders last season in the summer. Is that quite a compliment to you that that's what he wants you to add to that group of players? Yeah,
I think so. For me, last season, being given the captain's armband at the start of the season, obviously a club I've been at for a long time, you know, it was an honour for me to captain QPR, and it definitely brought me out of myself a little bit more as well. Obviously, there's lots of responsibilities that come with being a captain, but you know, I feel like you need 11 leaders on the pitch. It's not just one player. You know, you need a group of leaders on and off the pitch, and I feel like that's how you become successful. You know, if everyone's pulling the same way, you'll be successful.
Thanks, Grant. Best of luck to you.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it.
Hi, Grant. Stuart Renner from the Yorkshire Post. Just a quick one. The plan is for there to be more signings to come yet.
Yeah.
Do you think for players who've not worked with Neil before, just the fact that Neil Warnock is at a Championship club makes them more attractive to new signings?
I believe so. I believe just a club like this, obviously, it's a huge club, and for any player looking at it, they would consider it straight away. But with Neil coming in, I think, you know, if they look at his record and say, well, he's had this many promotions, he's going to want to have a go, you know. So I think it's definitely a catch for most players, yeah.
Because, you know, he's obviously got there's sort of this caricature of him, you know, as being very old school and angry on the touchline and all that sort of thing. But do you think within the game there's a real understanding of the man management qualities and the things that you've talked about? Yeah,
obviously, you know, people will see what he's like on the touchline. I mean, he you know, he probably gives the hairdryer treatment now and again when he needs to. But I've worked with him before, and you know, his man management skills of different players is first class. I've seen it. Obviously, I've only worked with him for a brief period of time, but I noticed everything he did with certain players.